Welcome back to another Turo video. If you haven't seen the last Turo video, I filmed me going to get the car. Sidney and I got the car, but he was busy. But I filmed me going to get the car, talking about Turo a little bit. And in this video, we're trying to get a second car. We won't get the car in this video, but I wanted to explain to you guys, is Turo worth it? Because I feel like it's a question a lot of you guys have. Is Turo worth it? Well, the short answer is, if it wasn't worth it, then there'd be no cars on Turo. Because obviously people are making profit and they put their cars on Turo, or it helps them pay their bills. But today I wanted to explain to you why it would be worth it and how you can calculate on your own if it's going to be worth it. And I got a special tool Sidney and I built, and it's going to help you decide, is it worth it for you? And it took 4 days to build, and I'll give you access to that at the end of the video, or how you can get the access to that at the end of the video. But right now, I'm back at the credit union. I got my buddy Johnny with me, and we're trying to get approved for another $16,000 in loan, a $16,000 loan. And I want to do it now. I got approved for the last loan about 7 days ago. I have the Equinox, and it's already in Turo, and it's already getting bookings, and it's gone right now. It's gone until Friday, and then it's getting booked again and leaving Saturday. But I have that car, and they pulled my credit for that loan. I hope this can hear me. It's raining so bad. But they pulled my credit history for that loan a week ago, and I want to go get another loan while that history is pulled, so they don't have to re-pull it, because they have access to it for 30 days. And it's raining so bad out. I hope you guys can hear me. But they have access to that for 30 days. So if I can go get another loan and they don't have to pull my credit again, that's beautiful. But basically, there's this car for $16,000. It's a 2019 Malibu, and it's my family member's car who can no longer drive, and his son's trying to sell it. And the car is worth a lot more than that. It's worth like $19,000. And it has 28,000 miles, 2019 Malibu, just a normal standard Chevy car, beautiful for Turo, and we want to list it on the platform. So I'm going to go see if I can get funding for that, get pre-approved, and if I get approved, I'm going to tell him I want to buy the car. Hopefully he lets us buy it, because if he doesn't let us buy it, then I can pre-approve for nothing, and you can go find another car. But the whole thing with Turo is you want to find cars that are way below the value. So if it's worth 19, you buy it at 16.
That's anything.
But for Turo specifically, you want to find cars way below the value. Because if you're buying cars at value, what they're actually worth, if you can't get a deal on a car, and you're most likely going to lose money when you sell the car after its useful 3-year life. Because you buy a car for $21,000, right? Say you make money on Turo with it. Say you make $10,000 on Turo with it. You're paying the car note. You paid $10,000 on the car note in 3 years. Then when you go to sell the car, that $21,000 car is only going to be worth like 10 grand. So you lost $11,000 right there in depreciation. It's a hidden cost that people don't talk about. Taxes are a hidden cost that people don't talk about. And maintenance fees are a hidden cost that no one talks about. So Sidney and I built a calculator that tells you everything. You plug all your numbers in, you plug your interest rate in it, you plug car price, their down payment, everything, and it gives you an estimated monthly payment, how much you'll pay. Actually, it's exactly right. It gives you an amortization schedule, how much you're paying in interest. Put the term on how long you're taking out the loan for, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72 months. And you put in, if it's a new car, you put in the depreciation for the first year at 20%, second year 15%, third year another 15%, because that's the average depreciation for a new car. If it's an older car like the one I'm buying, it's probably like 13% depreciation a year. And it's going to give you how much that car is going to cost you in the end a month with depreciation added. Even though you don't actually pay that, because that's when you sell the car, it's going to tell you how much a month that car really costs you. Very important numbers that no one talks about, and I couldn't find any calculator like it. So another thing you can do with the calculator is put on how many days a month you're going to have the car booked. So say it's 20 days a month, and your take-home average is $45 after Turo fees a day. And it's going to tell you how much you're going to make and how much you're going to take home. It's really, really, really useful information. So right now, after it's finished raining, because as you guys can see, it's raining so bad, and I got to bring my MacBook in there, I'm going to go see if I can get that calculator, or see if I can go get that loan. I'm going to show them the calculator so they can build trust with me. See, I'm actually studying the market. And if I get that, hopefully I can buy this car, and we can get the second car listed on Turo. Our goal is 5 cars by December. We shoot over that, that'd be great, but 5 cars by December. Eventually we're gonna have to put in an LLC name and get business funding, get that 50K, and then we're turning into Airbnb host in Niagara Falls. Because ask Sid's the one who'll tell you Niagara Falls is the best freaking market for houses He lives right on the water. There's so many abandoned houses on the water, beautiful views. No one's with him. Canada, on the other side, all the houses are 700 grand. In Niagara Falls, they're all 60, 70 grand beat up. We talked to an Airbnb host, and they're making bank, and she bought 4 houses, and then she just bought 4 across the street, so she's killing it. But anyways, let's go inside this credit union, see if I can get the loan, and then later in this video, I'm gonna show you the calculator and show you where you can find it. Guys, listen, so I just walked out, well, actually walked out a while ago, of the other credit union, and I went in there, I showed her my calculator I made. I thought I had the Riz going, I thought I had everything going right, and then the loan officer called her to the back. The loan officer called her to the back, and I was like, I wants to talk to her, because usually they just message in the computer and tell you if you got approved right there, but they wanted to talk to her. Auto loans. Anyways, they come back, sorry, since you just got out of loan with us and there's not enough history and trust, we probably would reevaluate the situation after a year and then give you a loan. Makes sense. I understand. I respect it. But the other loan officer made it seem promising that I could get the loan. But obviously you can't. So now I'm at a credit union located in Grand Island, New York. This was recommended by 5 people. It's so small that they don't even answer the phone, I guess. You have to go there. So we're here right now. They have super low rates. And I don't know why I didn't come here. I'm going to see if I can refinance another loan, actually. But we're going here, see if we can get an auto loan. I'm going to tell them the situation. I'm going to tell them how this business is making money. And be honest with them. Be like, hey, I just took out a loan for this. But we're trying to get more financing because this is making money. But this is the part of life where you have to find workarounds to stuff. Because I could have just stopped after like being denied the first time. And I'll probably be denied here too. Because they don't know me. I'm a young kid. I have all this debt. And I have no LLC saying I make the money. So like, on them. Why would they trust this kid? You know, I have to find a workaround. If there's anything that Sidney taught me is that you just find workarounds and stuff. As if you're a business owner, you find a way to make it work every single time. There's gonna be problems and you could quit or you could man up and find a way to make it work. So if this doesn't work, I'll maybe call another place, but the only thing is you don't want to pull your credit history too many times. So I'm here, see if I can get the loan pre-approved and then hopefully it works. But this is the place right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me zoom in right there. Little small building in Grand Island, New York. And it was actually recommended by Ryan. If you don't know who, is it Ryan? Ryan in the last video from Certified Auto Brokers in Grand Island recommended this place. And Johnny tried to get a loan here, but they wouldn't answer the phone. I called like 6 times. They don't answer. So I will update you inside or outside when I'm done. All right, guys. So I went to the branch in Grand Island of the, I went to Financial Trust on Grand Island, and they're a small little branch. They have a bunch of different branches, but the Grand Island branch didn't have any loan officers. So I talked to the gentleman there for a little bit. And he said that I have to go to the Cheektowaga location if I wanted to talk to a loan officer. So that's what I did. I drove to the Cheektowaga location and started telling them my situation. And I applied to refinance the last loan for the Chevrolet Equinox, which we just listed on Turo. You can check out that video. It's like right in Cindy's channel, and because the rate is 4.99 and I believe we got a rate of 6.4 on that car, 6.499 on that car. So I applied to refinance that, and then I also applied for another $16,000 loan there. Will I get it? I don't know. If I don't get it, I'm interested in co-hosting some cars and trying to send out mass messages to people asking if I can co-host their cars. Or maybe Cindy will co-sign for the loan, which I don't know if he wants to do that. It just depends on the situation, if I want to co-host or not, or get more cars and build equity in the cars. But it's also a very new market, and buying a car is kind of dangerous because, like I said, Buffalo isn't a huge destination. Niagara Falls is, but there's already a bunch of cars on Turo, and they're only booked maybe a week in advance. You don't get bookings far out. So we got to see. Anyways, the loan office was supposed to call me back today. I went there yesterday and applied. They were super busy, and she said we might get back to you today. So they didn't end up getting back to me today. I called them. They said they might get back to me today, but they didn't end up getting back to me. So hopefully tomorrow I will call them. But I did want to show you guys the financial calculator. So here is the calculator. And this all will be on the Skool community for you guys to access. And there will be many more resources for Turo as well. That community is currently still being built, but when it is up, it will be a game changer. So I was doing some estimates with other cars and my friends and family's cars to show them the potential, but I'm going to purchase this car for $16,000. The Chevrolet Malibu for 2019. And the loan amount I'm going to take is $16,000. Down payment, I realized if you can take a longer term and not do a down payment, it's kind of smarter, because when you're doing the down payment, you're putting more equity in the car for when you sell it. But at the end of the day, you're going to be turning profit with Turo, so it doesn't make sense to put your cash up front. Just take out a longer term, make your payment lower, and sell the car in 3 years and pay a little more interest. So we are doing no down payment. We want to buy this car out with the loan. Initial registration fees, these are just insurance. This is just estimates based on the last car. And you can fill in these numbers too. Easy Pass, Amazon Lockbox, these are all expenses. Like a steering wheel cover that we countered. Like I said, you can change it. But our rate is for 60 months, and the new interest rate, if I get accepted for this loan, would be 5.99, I believe. Oh, it might be 4.99. Honestly, I have to check. Let me see. Yeah, it might be, if I did months, I don't want to do 72 months, but if I did 72 months, it's $257 a month. And down here, it's the interest total. So this is 24 months. The yellow represents 36 months. The blue, or this represents 48. This pink represents 60. And then this last darker pink represents 72. So considering I'm going to have a useful life of 3 years for the car, I will pay $2,300 in interest. And the 3-year ownership cost of the car is $9,252. That is how much I will pay over the cost of $257, 36 months. And with insurance added on, the estimated cost is $611 a month, and this also includes maintenance. If I did not include maintenance, your only cost is going to be $467, and that's including a Delta Sonic subscription for a local car wash that we have, that you can go inside and vacuum your car. They give you cleaners and everything, and you can get the outside wash. Just for simplicity, spending time on cleaning your car, something that me and Sid don't want to do because he's busy, and that's just how it goes. You pay for $44 a month and you get it done easily. And all these costs are not going to directly come out of your monthly cost, but they're costs you got to add in. They're hidden costs. Because brakes and rotors, for example, if I didn't add that $20 in for the month, then that's going to be an expense maybe later on in 2 years, where we're paying, $400 to get your brakes in with caliper clips. And I'll do it myself, but it's still a hidden cost. So in reality, you're paying $467 a month, but with maintenance, it's $611. But there's something else that is huge, and it's depreciation. Depreciation is one of the biggest hidden costs that people don't realize when doing Turo, when they're buying a car. When you buy a car, it depreciates. Especially with Turo, people putting on 20,000 miles a year, it depreciates. So for example, if I had this car and it's worth actually the car is worth way more, we're getting a deal on it. But if I had a car and it's worth $16K, and it's used already, so it's not going to depreciate another 20% the first year. It's probably going to, or for the year I have it, it's probably going to depreciate 16%, 16%, and then 15%. It's kind of hard to estimate this, but you can try your best based on how old the car is. If the car's older, it's going to be a lower percentage that depreciates. But with depreciation, this car is costing $785 a month. You are not paying out of pocket $785, but when you go to sell the car, it's going to be worth way less. So if I buy this car for $16,000, it's going to be worth $12,000 when I sell it. And you lose out when you sell it because you got to pay the rest of the loan off. So that's about $174 a month in depreciation, $2,000 a year. And then this depreciation tab right here tells you kind of each year how much is what the car is actually worth. Over here, this Turo revenue calculator is where you can kind of decide if your car is worth it. So for this Malibu, after Turo takes its fees, it's probably going to run out for $55 a day on the low end, on the average end. After Turo takes its fees, if I do the 90% split with Turo, where they get 10%, I get 90%, but there's a $2,500 deductible, I'd probably take home, and then again, there's discounts in Turo you got to take into account, but $55 times 0.90, it's $49. Minus Turo's, discount fees for promoting, so it's be $47 to take home. So if I rent that car out for 17 days out of the month, which is super doable. It's hard to estimate number. If I were you, I'd go in your local market, go on your Turo, kind of select the car that looks like you're anytime it's available, and then go on the calendar, and it actually blocks the days off in which it isn't available. And you can kind of estimate there how many days it's being booked for. That's your best shot. But cities, you can get 23, 30 easily, but in small cities like Buffalo, it's probably 17 on the low end. So don't kind of try to make it the best yourself, kind of make it the worst scenario, just so you know. So what happens here at $7.99 a month? And take home for the year is going to be about $9,588 estimate, so about $10K. And in 3 years, it is $28,000, so $29,000. Now that car in 3 years that I bought for $16K, it's probably going to get 60,000 miles on it, so it's only going to be worth about $9,700 after depreciation. So again, we took out a $16K loan. The car is only worth $9,000, and that's how depreciation works. And so your total take home is $38,000. So basically what happens here is you add the 3-year take home of Turo's profit, and then you add on the car sale value, you get $38,000. And then you got to subtract the total you've paid on the loan in 3 years. Again, it's all done for you. If you don't understand the math or the calculations, the equations, don't worry about it. Just focus on the final numbers. But the remaining low balance is $6,000, so you have to pay the bank back $6,000. So the total profit in 3 years, just focus on these orange squares here, is $22,000. That's after depreciation, that's after tax, and that's after maintenance. And it's a very good number to know, because at the end of the day, you're going to be profiting $629 a month. So the big question, is Turo worth it? Well, you tell me, is it worth it to profit $629 a month? That's why this calculator exists. So what I like to do personally, if I'm only getting $47 a day for this car, I want to find out what is my break even. So we're going to play with the number of days booked. So watch this. I'm going to delete 17 days, and then I'm going to put in 10 days. And as you can see, my profit is $300 a month. So let's try to get that closer to zero. So I'm going to put in 8 days. My profit, that's 80 days. My profit is $200. So let's try putting in 5 days. My profit is $65. So let's put in 4 days. So my profit is $18 a month. So the reason that it is now is because $47 times 4 days a month, it's only $188. That is not enough to cover your car payment, and that is not enough to cover your insurance. However, what you're not realizing is that you're still going to sell the car in 3 years, and it's going to be worth more than $9,000 because the depreciation is going to be way less if you're only booking it for 4 days a month, because it's going to have less miles on it. So you're still profiting from the sale in 3 years, but in the meantime, you're not going to be able to make the payments. You're only going to make $188 from Turo a month at the break even, but you'll still sell the car in the end, so you are profiting when you sell the car. If you don't want to look at it that way, then look at this number right here, your net profit each month. So if my cost for this car each month is $467, let's find out what number of days I need it to be for this net month profit to be $457. So if I did 8 days, that's $367. So if I did 10 days, that's $470. So I need to book this car 10 days out of the month to see a coverage on my insurance and the car payment. That's easily doable on Turo. Also, this is assuming the worst numbers, weekends, people are gonna book it for a much higher price. You might get 60, 70. So this is all low end stuff. This is how you should be thinking, because you want to assume the worst, because you got to be prepared. Also, you're really making $300 a month profit after depreciation and taxes. Taxes are crazy with Turo too, because taxes in New York State, you're getting taxed 6% as an average income bracket. Federal tax is 23%. Again, that 6% was from New York State. And then you're a 1099 worker if you are working with Turo, so you have a self-employment tax of 15%. So you're taxed 44% on your profit a year. And that's crazy, because that is very close to half your money going to the state. But with New York State and the government, the tax book allows you for this thing called deductions, and deductions are huge. The things you can deduct with Turo are your mileage, your gas, your depreciation, your repairs, your cleaning, your tolls, your loan interest, your registration, your insurance. And how this works is base it off of how much you use the car. So if you are using this car for 90% business, then you can deduct 90% of the mileage you put on the car. So for example, you get 65.5 cents in New York State per mile driven. So if I drove 20,000 miles in 1 year, then that is $13,000 that I can deduct from my profit. And remember, if I book this car for 20 days a month, right, you are taking home $9,000 at the end of the year. So with mileage alone, you shouldn't have to pay taxes with Turo. And it's crazy to think, but you're actually at a net loss, as you can see down here. And you can actually deduct also your loan interest, and it's only the interest. And this number is calculated by averaging this interest right here for the first 12 months. And that's why this calculator is good, because it's called an amortization table, and it tells you how much you're paying in interest on each one of your payments. If you guys didn't know, you pay the most interest in the beginning of your loan because that is based off your balance. And then you gotta look at the calendar to understand what I'm saying, the schedules to understand what I'm saying, but you'll get it, I promise. It's not complicated. But you should be good with taxes as long as you get a good CPA and do deductions. And that's why it's worth it to pay $300 for a CPA, because the chances are you yourself, me doing this, it's not gonna be good, no bueno. So get a CPA. And then this is insurance. You don't really gotta worry about that. But this is the calculator. Is Turo worth it? Play with the calculator and find out. Again, this isn't like a super easy to use, robust calculator. You just look at numbers, you plug your numbers into the blue squares, and you wanna find your profit with depreciation. And this is all estimate. You're gonna profit. If you're in big cities, you know, Denver, LA, Miami, Atlanta, South Carolina, places like that, like, you know, you're going to profit. Your car might be great than compared to Buffalo, because there's so many people in Turo. I feel like there's less than 100 cars in Turo and Buffalo, but you're gonna book cars in trips, I promise you. And when you start Turo, they're gonna promote you for the first 3 days, so you get some bookings, and then from there, it's a grind to get reviews. And people wanna book cars that have trips and reviews. They don't wanna book a car with 0 trips because they don't trust you. So Turo promotes the cars that have more trips, believe it or not. So after they promote you in the beginning to get you set, you're gonna see a decrease in the amount of trips and bookings you're getting. And it's gonna be a grind to build that up to like 20. And then there's 3 levels of host you can be, and the top level gets promoted the most. The bottom level doesn't get promoted too much. And the middle level, so your goal is to ultimately be at the top and be a power host. Hard to be, you gotta have a lot of trips. You can look it up on how many you need. I believe it's All-Star Host, Power Host, and those are the 2. And then when you start, you're a beginner host. But yeah, you want to have a lot of trips. That's why it's important to get a couple cars or co-hosts. You can get more trips under your belt. And 5-star reviews are everything in Turo from what I've been learning. Because if you have a 4-star review, you're not going to get booked. And people will screw you over and not give you 4 stars because they're petty and they don't think everything is a 5-star, even if it's perfect. So we are getting another car in our fleet. We only have 1 car, I'm calling it a fleet. We're getting another car, we just gotta get the funding, and that's the hardest part, especially if you watching this are working 9 to 5, you only have 1 car. It's a risk putting your car in Turo, and it's not something that I ever do, and I understand that. And you have to realize that business is risky, and you have to be willing to invest and try it. And if not, sell the car and pay the loss on the loan. But you got this. If you're a little confused, the course is launching in the Skool community, and there's also 8 other business ventures that you could do that are just like Turo but different, that will make you a lot of money in that community. And there's bi-weekly Zoom calls with 7-figure entrepreneurs, producers, online website gurus, people who selling their company for 4 million, trucking gurus, literally everyone. And that's why I love the Skool community, for the people first community. It's literally insane networking capabilities, because you can message anyone and everyone responds. And there's a lot of other communities like that online, But this one specifically has a bunch of different hustles. It's not like you're just joining for Turo. There's other things in there that you can actually do. And the bi-weekly Zoom calls, everyone chats. He teaches a main lesson, and then it's kind of like chatting after that. And it's a bunch of networking. You share your own thoughts to the community, and people like, and it works by the more likes you get on your comments, the higher level of status you achieve. It's pretty cool. Check it out. The link is in the description for the Skool. And if you enjoy these Turo videos, give it a thumbs up. Appreciate y'all.